Released in 2018, Sergeant Stubby, an American hero, recounts the wartime achievements of Stubby, a stray dog who, after being adopted by a soldier, traveled to France alongside the 102nd Infantry Regiment. While those who have seen the film may be tempted to question the validity of some of Stubby's achievements, I was actually surprised at the film's level of accuracy, especially considering that, over time, elements of Stubby's story may have been altered due to reasons. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Instead, let's start this video off right by talking about In 1917, a stray dog wandered onto the Yale University athletic field in New Haven, Connecticut, where the men of the 26th Infantry Division, aka the Yankee Division, were training. While there, the young pup developed a friendship with James Robert Conroy, a 25-year-old doughboy from New England, and was eventually given the name Stubby as a reference to his dogged tail. Stubby followed along with his new friends during their army training, learning how to march and even salute on command, a trick which earned him the approval of Conroy's superiors. After basic training, Conroy, Stubby, and the rest of the 102nd Infantry Division traveled to France on board the Minnesota, where Stubby was given a set of military dog tags by Conroy and his friends. After serving along the Chemin des Dames, a 30-kilometer stretch of road that runs just north of the Aisne River, where Stubby learned how to detect and alert soldiers to incoming gas attacks, the Yankee Division was relocated to the town of Toul. In what became known as the Battle of Cheshire, Stubby was wounded by an enemy shell and had to spend 6 weeks recuperating in an army hospital. After rejoining the front, Stubby assisted in the capture of a German soldier and was given his Iron Cross as a reward, while Conroy was promoted to the rank of corporal. But after armistice was declared on November 11th, 1918, both he and Stubby decided to leave the service and return home to America. Before moving on, I want to talk a little bit about Conroy's friend Schroeder. Though not based on a real person, as far as I know, Schroeder's experiences reflect those of many German-American citizens during World War I, as he explains that Germans who don't enlist are dismissed as slackers and draft dodgers. This anti-German hysteria was something that many German-Americans experienced during World War I, as they were often viewed as traitors and potential spies. While Schroeder never goes into detail about the discrimination he's faced or how it's affected him, the fact that a PG-rated animated film decided to reference such a dark element of American history is honestly kind of amazing, even if Schroeder is the most pro-American character in the movie. Being that none of Conroy's letters from this period survive, and he didn't keep a diary, any friendships he might have made while in the service are unknown. This means that Olsen, Schroeder, and Gaston are all film original characters. On the other hand, Conroy did have an older sister named Margaret, and 2 younger sisters named Helen and Gertrude, though his older sister Alice and younger brother Hugh are never mentioned in the film. I guess they were the unimportant siblings. No, I'm just kidding. While Stubby and Conroy did travel to France together, rather than sneaking aboard the Minnesota of his own accord like in the film, Stubby was purposely smuggled aboard by Conroy, who asked a crew member to hide him inside the ship's engine room until they were safely out of the harbor. While Conroy and Stubby spent 18 months serving overseas, given the film's limited runtime, many events were omitted or altered to fit the film's shortened timeline. After arriving in France in early October, Conroy, Stubby, and the rest of the Yankee Division headed to Neufchâteau. My French is terrible. A city in eastern France to receive further training. The Chemin de Dame was actually the Yankee Division's second destination in France, arriving there on February 5th, 1918. Also, while the Chemin de Dame was the site of the division's first gas attack, this was not an issue for Stubby, as he'd already received his own gas mask, something which in the film doesn't happen until much later. Those who are not well versed on the subject of military dog history might be surprised to learn that dog gas masks were already in use by World War I, as many of the Allied nations employed canine soldiers. Unfortunately, Stubby's French-made gas mask was not a secure fit, so a French surgeon fashioned him an alternative mask using army supplies. 6 weeks after arriving at the Chemin de Dame, the Yankee Division was once again on the move, traveling to the trenches outside of Toul to relieve the 1st Division. Unfortunately, while this operation was conducted in secret after arriving at Toul, the doughboys looked across no man's land to see a sign that read, "Welcome 26th Division." While the film does reference this fact, it occurs while the soldiers are still stationed at the Chemin de Dame, rather than in the Toul sector. After receiving an injury at the Battle of Seicheprey and spending 6 weeks recuperating in an army hospital, Stubby moved with the rest of the Yankee Division to the Marne, an area east of Paris bisected by the Marne River. It was here, rather than at the Chemin de Dame, that Stubby is reported to have saved a town by alerting them to an incoming gas attack. The residents of the town of Château-Chiry were reportedly so grateful that they decided to make Stubby his own Yankee Division uniform. This uniform was actually much more elaborate than the one displayed in the film. In addition to displaying the Yankee Division's logo on both sleeves, Stubby's uniform was also inscribed with his name, while the back featured an emblem depicting a wreath composed of Allied flags. The Yankee Division then moved to Saint-Mihiel, where they rid the area of enemy soldiers before marching 60 miles to take part in the Meuse-Argonne offensive, the deadliest battle in American military history, that ended with the signing of the armistice on November 11th, 1918. Unlike in the film, Conroy was not actually on active duty when he was struck down by the dreaded influenza. Instead, Conroy and Stubby were on leave when he fell ill, and had to spend the first part of their vacation in a hospital in Paris. Though, just like his film counterpart, Conroy made a full recovery, and was even able to do some sightseeing. It was during the Meuse-Argonne offensive that Stubby succeeded in capturing a German soldier, an achievement which, in the film, earned him a promotion to the rank of sergeant. However, fans of the film will be disappointed to discover that there is actually no evidence that Stubby was ever a sergeant in the United States military, or that he held any rank at all. Newspaper articles and other documentation from Stubby's lifetime never refer to him as sergeant. And while Stubby's uniform does boast 3 chevrons, which today signifies the rank of sergeant, during World War I, chevrons displayed on a soldier's left sleeve were used to indicate months of service, with each chevron representing 6 months. While there is no definitive evidence, one way or the other, regarding Stubby's rank, Stubby is often still credited as the first dog in the United States to receive a military rank. Just Google who was the first dog to receive a military rank in the US, and up pops Stubby's picture. This is why we don't copy and paste from Wikipedia. If you're interested in double-checking my findings, then I'd suggest going to the National Museum of American History website and looking up Stubby's scrapbook. This scrapbook, which was created by Conroy to commemorate his friend's numerous achievements, contains a vast array of pictures and articles about this heroic canine. While there are actually quite a few Stubby stories that didn't make it into the film, like the time he alerted a sleeping soldier to an incoming gas attack, or his surprise adoption by a French infantry unit, being that the achievements of this heroic doggo could fill an entire book. I mean, where do you think I got most of my information from? I will instead leave you with the words of wildlife photographer Roger Carras. Dogs are not our whole life, but they make our lives whole, unless you're a cat person.